They say blood is thicker than water, but in my family, blood is just another thing to spill. My sister Sarah has always been the concerned one, the one who whispers in my ear that my skirt is too short, that my laugh is too loud, that I'm embarrassing myself. She wraps her jealousy in a package called "Looking Out for You." When I introduced her to Luca, the 25-year-old landscape architect I had hired to renovate my lake house, she gasped. She clutched her pearls. She pulled me into the kitchen and hissed, "Elena, are you insane? He's a child. He looks at you like a mother figure. It's pathetic." For weeks, she poisoned me. She made me doubt every touch, every look, every feeling I had for him. She convinced me I was a predatory old woman having a crisis. I almost ended it. I almost fired him to save my dignity. But then came the night of the storm. The power went out. I went downstairs to find a flashlight, and there, in the flickering light of the fireplace, I saw the truth. My sister wasn't trying to protect me from the young man. She was trying to clear the path so she could have him. I'm 50. He's 25. And tonight, I'm going to tell you how I beat my own sister at her twisted game, and how the child she warned me about became the man who saved me. I bought the cabin in Lake Tahoe for one reason: escape. I had just turned 50. My divorce was final. My daughter was in grad school in London. I was officially alone in a house that felt too big. I needed a project. I needed to get my hands dirty. The cabin was a gem, but the grounds were a disaster. Overgrown pines, a cracked patio, a garden that had been surrendered to the weeds. I put out an ad for a landscape architect. I wanted someone visionary, someone who could see the potential. That's when Luca pulled into the driveway. I watched him from the kitchen window. An old, beat-up Ford truck rattled up the gravel path. He stepped out. He was wearing work boots, canvas pants, and a green t-shirt that was dusted with soil. He had messy, sun-bleached hair and a scruff of a beard. He grabbed a sketchbook from the passenger seat. I walked out to meet him, expecting to be professional. "Elena?" he asked. His voice was deep, warm, like honey over gravel. "I'm Elena," I said. "And you must be the miracle worker," he smiled. It was a slow, crooked smile that lit up his hazel eyes. "I'm Luca. I don't know about miracles, but I'm good with dirt." He walked the property with me. Most contractors I interviewed talked over me. They told me what I should want. "You need a retaining wall here. You need concrete there." Luca didn't talk. He listened. He touched the bark of the trees. He crouched down to feel the soil quality. "You don't need concrete," he said, looking at the lake. "You need to open up the view. The land is suffocating. It needs to breathe." He looked at me then. "It's like people," he said softly. "Sometimes you just need to clear the weeds so you can see the sun again." I felt a shiver that had nothing to do with the mountain breeze. He was 25. I saw it on his license when we signed the contract. But he didn't feel young. He felt grounded. He felt like the earth he worked with. 2 weeks into the project, my peace was shattered. My sister Sarah called. "I'm coming up for the weekend," she chirped. "I need a break from the city, and I want to make sure you aren't being ripped off by these contractors. You know you're too trusting, Elena." Sarah is 46. She is my younger sister, but she acts like the matriarch. She is beautiful in a very expensive, maintained way. She fights aging with needles and lasers. I fight it with hiking and wine. We have always been competitive, or rather, she has always been competitive. If I bought a car, she bought a faster one. If I lost 5 pounds, she lost 10. She arrived on a Friday afternoon. She walked onto the deck, holding a glass of Chardonnay, inspecting the work. Luca was down by the water, shirtless. It was a hot day. He was moving rocks to build a fire pit. His back muscles rippled under the sun. Sweat glistened on his skin. He looked like a statue come to life. I saw Sarah freeze. She lowered her sunglasses. Her eyes tracked him like a predator spotting prey. "My God," she whispered. "Who is that?" "That's the landscape architect," I said, trying to keep my voice neutral. "Luca. He's very thorough," she murmured, licking her lips. Luca saw us and jogged up the hill. He wiped his face with his shirt. "Afternoon, Elena," he smiled. "Luca, this is my sister Sarah. Nice to meet you," Luca said, extending a hand. Sarah didn't shake it. She kept her sunglasses down, looking him up and down with a smirk. "Aren't you a little young to be an architect?" she asked. "Did you just finish your coloring books?" It was a classic Sarah move, negging, making him feel small to assert dominance. Luca didn't flinch. "I finished my master's last year," he said calmly. "And I've been working this land since I was 12. Youth has its advantages, Sarah. We have more stamina." He held her gaze. Sarah blushed. Actually blushed. She laughed, a high, tinkling sound. "Well, touché? Just make sure you don't ruin my sister's garden." "I wouldn't dream of it," he said. Then he looked at me. "I'll be working late tonight, Elena. I want to finish the fire pit before the rain comes." "Okay," I said. "Thank you, Luca." As he walked away, Sarah turned to me. Her face had changed. The lust was gone, replaced by a cold, calculating look. "He's trouble," she declared. "He's a worker, Sarah. He's a boy," she sneered. "And he's flirting with you. It's unprofessional. You need to be careful, Elena. Men like that, they prey on lonely women of a certain age." Lonely women of a certain age. The insult landed perfectly. "I'm not lonely," I snapped. "Of course you are." She patted my arm. "You're divorced. You're 50. It's natural to project fantasies onto the help. Just don't embarrass yourself." That night, after Sarah had gone to bed, or so I thought, I went outside. Luca was packing up his tools by the new fire pit. The flames were dancing, casting long shadows. "You're still here," I said. "I told you I'd finish," he said. I handed him a beer. "You earned this." He took it. His fingers brushed mine. Electric. "Your sister is intense," he noted, taking a sip. "She's protective," I lied. "She thinks I'm vulnerable." "Are you?" He looked at me. The firelight flickered in his eyes. "I don't feel vulnerable right now," I admitted. "I feel awake." He stepped closer. "You should," he said. "You have a lot of life left, Elena. Don't let her tell you otherwise." He reached out and tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. His hand was rough, warm and gentle. "You're beautiful," he whispered. "Not for 50, just beautiful." I stopped breathing. I wanted him to kiss me. I wanted it so badly my knees shook. But Sarah's voice echoed in my head. "He's a child. It's pathetic." I pulled back. "It's late, Luca. You should go." He looked disappointed, but he nodded. "Good night, Elena." He walked to his truck. I stood by the fire, feeling the heat on my face, wondering if I had just made the mistake of being appropriate instead of being happy. I looked up at the cabin. In the guest bedroom window, the curtain moved. Sarah was watching. The next morning, the campaign began. Sarah poured me coffee with a sympathetic smile. "I saw you last night," she said casually. My stomach dropped. "You were spying?" "I was looking out the window. Elena, honey, it was painful to watch." "What do you mean?" "The way you were looking at him, like a puppy waiting for a treat. And him, he looked uncomfortable." "He didn't look uncomfortable," I argued. "Oh, he did," she insisted. "He was being polite because you write his checks. It's a power dynamic, Elena. It's gross. You're putting him in a terrible position. Imagine if his mother knew her son was being ogled by a client twice his age." I felt sick. Was she right? Was I the predatory older woman? Was Luca just tolerating me? "I think you should fire him," Sarah said, buttering her toast. "I'm not firing him. The work isn't done." "Then let me handle him," she offered. "I'll supervise the rest of the project. You go to the spa today? Relax. Let me deal with the gardener." I was weak. I was insecure. I let her do it. "Fine," I said. "You supervise today." I left. I drove into town. I wandered around shops, looking at my reflection in windows, seeing every wrinkle, every gray hair. Sarah had planted the seed of self-hatred, and it was blooming fast. When I came back that afternoon, the vibe had changed. Sarah was lounging on the deck in a bikini that barely covered her. She was laughing loudly. Luca was working on the trellis, shirtless again. "Elena," Sarah called out. "Luca was just telling me about his travels in Italy. Did you know he speaks Italian?" "Mamma mia." She giggled, a girlish, fake sound. I looked at Luca. He didn't look uncomfortable with her. He looked guarded. But when he saw me, his face softened. "Hey," he said. "How was town?" "Fine," I muttered. "We need to go over the planting schedule," he said, walking toward me, ignoring Sarah. "I have some ideas for the shade garden." "Oh, I can help with that," Sarah interjected, jumping up. "I have a great eye for color." Actually, Luca said, his voice cool. I need to discuss the budget with the owner. He emphasized the word owner. Sarah's smile faltered. Her eyes narrowed. Fine, she sniffed. I'll go take a shower. It's so hot out here. She walked past him, deliberately trailing her hand across his bare back. I saw it. Luca flinched. He stepped away. He looked at me, eyes wide, silently pleading with me to see what was happening. But I was too blinded by my own insecurity. I thought he flinched because I was watching. We went inside to look at the plans. Your sister? Luca said, keeping his voice low. She's trying to help, I said stiffly. She's trying to something, he muttered. Elena, why did you leave today? We were supposed to pick out the stone together. I thought you needed space, I said. I thought maybe I was making you uncomfortable. He dropped his pen. Uncomfortable? Who told you that? It doesn't matter. It was her, wasn't it? He stepped into my space. He smelled of sun and soil. Elena, look at me. I am not uncomfortable. I am frustrated because every time we get close, you run away. And now you've put a barrier between us. She's my sister, Luca. She's a shark, he said. And she's circling. He leaned in. I don't want the sister, he whispered. I want you. When are you going to believe that? I wanted to believe him. God, I did. But 40 years of living in Sarah's shadow is a hard habit to break. I have to start dinner, I said, pulling away. That night, the sky broke open. A summer squall hit the mountains. Wind howled through the pines like a wounded animal. At 11:02 p.m., the power grid failed. The cabin plunged into darkness. I was in my bedroom, lying awake, listening to the rain. I had locked my door. I felt safer that way, safe from my sister's sharp tongue, safe from the confusing pull I felt toward Luca. But then, I heard a crash downstairs. Glass breaking, my heart leaped into my throat. I grabbed my phone for a flashlight. I grabbed a heavy brass candlestick from my dresser. Cliché, I know, but effective. I opened my door and crept into the hallway. I heard voices. They were coming from the great room downstairs, where the massive stone fireplace was the only source of warmth. I walked to the railing of the loft. I looked down. The embers of the fire were glowing red, and there, illuminated by the flickering light, were two silhouettes. One was tall, broad-shouldered, Luca. The other was slender, wearing a silk robe that was slipping off her shoulder. Sarah. I froze. I should have announced myself. I should have walked down the stairs and asked what was happening, but something made me stop. A gut instinct, a need to know the truth. So I stood in the shadows, gripping the railing, and I watched. Sarah was standing inches from him. She had opened a bottle of my expensive vintage red. You're soaked, she purred. He must have come in from checking the generator. You should take that shirt off. I'm fine, Sarah, Luca said. His voice was cold, tight. Don't be shy, she laughed, taking a step closer. I noticed you today. I noticed how you looked at me by the pool. I held my breath. Did he? I was looking at the pool filter, Luca said flatly. It needs cleaning. Oh, stop it, Sarah whispered. She reached out and placed her hand on his chest. You don't have to pretend with me. I know my sister. I know she's difficult. Difficult? Luca asked. She's depressed, Sarah lied smoothly. She's going through a terrible midlife crisis. She thinks every man she meets is her savior. It's sad, really. I'm just trying to protect you from her delusions. My blood ran cold. She wasn't just flirting. She was dismantling me. She was painting me as a pathetic, desperate charity case. She's 50, Luca, Sarah continued, her voice dropping to a seductive murmur. She's tired. She can't keep up with a man like you. She can't give you the excitement you need. She walked her fingers up his chest. But I can. I'm not like her. I'm fun. I'm alive. And I don't have all that baggage. I waited. I waited for him to push her away. I waited for him to defend me. But for a long, agonizing silence, he did nothing. My heart shattered. She was right. He was 25. Why would he want the project manager when he could have the party girl? Sarah leaned in. She was going to kiss him. Come to my room, she whispered. Let's leave Elena to her beauty sleep. She needs it more than we do. Sarah closed her eyes and leaned in. And then, Luca moved. He didn't embrace her. He grabbed her wrist and pulled her hand off his chest. He didn't do it gently. He took a step back, creating a chasm of air between them. "Are you finished?" he asked. His voice was low, but it carried to the rafters. Sarah blinked, confused. "What? Are you finished trashing your own blood to get a date?" Sarah straightened up, offended. "I'm not trashing her. I'm telling you the truth. She's old, Luca. She is magnificent," Luca interrupted. The anger in his voice shook the room. "You look at her, and you see a number. You see age. I look at her, and I see class. I see intelligence. I see a woman who built a life, who respects the land, who listens." He pointed a finger at Sarah. "You talk about baggage? You're the one carrying it. You're carrying a truckload of insecurity so heavy you have to tear your sister down just to feel tall. It's ugly, Sarah. It's the ugliest thing I've seen on this property, and I've dug up rotting stumps." I gasped. I couldn't help it. Luca looked up toward the loft. He heard me. "Elena?" he called out. "I'm here," I whispered. I walked down the stairs. I wasn't wearing makeup. I was wearing my old flannel pajamas. I looked 50, and I felt 10 feet tall. Sarah turned to me. Her face was pale in the firelight. She knew she had been caught. "Elena," she stammered. "I was just testing him for you." "Testing him?" I repeated, walking up to her. "Yes, I wanted to make sure he wasn't, a gigolo. I was doing you a favor." "You were trying to sleep with him," I said calmly. "I was not. He's a child." "He's a man," I said. "A man who just rejected you, and that kills you, doesn't it?" Sarah's eyes narrowed. "Don't be ridiculous. Look at you, Elena. You're pathetic. You actually think he wants you? He's playing the long game. He wants your money." I looked at Luca. He was standing by the fireplace, arms crossed, watching me. He didn't look like he wanted my money. He looked like he wanted to burn the house down for me. I turned back to Sarah. "Get out," I said. "Excuse me? Pack your bags, get in your car, and leave." "It's pouring rain," she shrieked. "And the power is out." "You have a convertible," I said coldly. "Put the top up, and you have high beams. Use them." "You can't kick me out. I'm your sister." "You stopped being my sister the minute you tried to make me feel small in my own home," I said. "Go back to the city, Sarah. Go find some other way to feel young, because you are not using my life as your playground anymore." Sarah looked at me. Then she looked at Luca. She saw the united front. She saw that she had lost. She scoffed, grabbed her wine bottle, and stormed up the stairs to pack. 10 minutes later, we heard the front door slam and her engine roar to life. Then, silence. The house was quiet, just the sound of the rain and the crackle of the fire. I stood in the center of the room, shivering. The adrenaline was wearing off. "You defended me," I said softly. "Someone had to," Luca said. He walked over to me. "You called me magnificent," I whispered. "I meant it." He stopped in front of me. He reached out and touched my face. His hand was warm. "I told you, Elena, I don't want the noise. I don't want the games. I want the woman who sat by the fire with me and drank a beer. I want the woman who isn't afraid to get her hands dirty." "I'm 50, I said, the last wall of defense crumbling. "I have stretch marks. I have gray roots coming in. And I have calluses," he said, "and dirt under my nails. We aren't perfect, Elena. We're real." He leaned down. "Stop listening to her," he whispered against my lips. "Listen to me." He kissed me. It wasn't the kiss of a boy. It was the kiss of a man who knew exactly what he was holding. It was slow. It was deep. It tasted like wood smoke and rain and vindication. We didn't go upstairs. We stayed by the fire. On the rug that my sister had stained with wine, we reclaimed the house. He didn't treat me like I was fragile. He didn't treat me like a mother figure. He treated me like a woman who had been waiting too long to be touched. And for the first time in my life, I didn't worry about how I looked. I only cared about how I felt. And I felt electric. That was 6 months ago. The garden is finished now. It's spectacular. Luca didn't leave when the job was done. He moved his truck into the garage. He moved his boots into the hallway. We live here now. Sarah hasn't spoken to me since that night. She told the family I went crazy and was seduced by the help. Let them talk. While they are busy whispering, I'm busy living. I learned something important during that storm. Jealousy is a weed. It chokes everything around it, but love? Real love. It's like the soil. It doesn't care how old you are. It doesn't care about your past. It just wants to help you grow. I'm Elena. I'm 50. He's 25. And my sister was wrong. He wasn't too young for me. He was just right. Don't let toxic people prune your happiness. If this story empowered you, hit like and subscribe. Share this with a woman who needs to clear the weeds from her life.